Michigan Out of Doors Online is brought to you in part by Mr. Muskie Charters, offering full-service guided fishing trips for walleye, muskie, bass, and sturgeon on Lake St. Clair and the Detroit and St. Clair rivers. Booking information is online at mrmuskiecharters.com. By Tri-County Logging. Experienced in sustainable forestry practices, Tri-County Logging can help you manage your property by keeping your woods healthy and generate income. Serving southern and mid-Michigan for nearly 50 years, TriCountyLogging.com.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others. Join the fight.
Well, hey everybody, welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Hopefully you had a good Memorial Day weekend, got to spend some good time with friends and family, maybe do a little fishing. And speaking of fishing, that's what we're going to show you on this week's show. Actually, what goes into fishing after dark by doing a little bow fishing. We're going to show you a couple different stories on bow fishing, what you kind of need to get started in that sport, and kind of staying with that theme of after dark. We're going to show you some sucker spearing as well. So kind of some different stories on this week, something that maybe you've never tried before and you might want to give it a shot this spring or summer. Lots of good stories on this week's show. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger. You stay tuned. It's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan out of doors.
What a beautiful day in the woods.
Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's a love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Country Smokehouse, a sportsman's meat processor and Michigan destination since 1988, offers a variety of homemade smoked meats and Michigan-made products in-store and online. The Country Smokehouse features an outdoor barbecue and bar. Details at countrysmokehouse.com. By Alta Equipment Company, providing sales, rentals, service, and parts because uptime matters. From earth moving to landscaping and light construction, Alta offers over 50 brands across 7 Michigan locations to serve you. More information online or 844-GO-2-ALTA. By Polar Craft Boats, offering riveted and welded boats for the outdoor enthusiast. Whether you're targeting fish or waterfowl, Polar Craft Boats have several models to choose from that keep you high and dry. For more information, polarcraft.com. By AnglerQuest Pontoons. AnglerQuest is a Michigan-based company building boats designed for comfort and fishing functionality.
A couple of Sundays ago, I met up with Mike Brown and a few of his buddies for a night of bow fishing. We would be launching at a public access site over in the Thumb and fishing Saginaw Bay. The guys were getting the boat set up and waiting for the sun to go down before they headed out.
You can go during the day or at night. Obviously we're going to be going at night as soon as the sun gets down here. We got a bunch of lights set up, really easy. Don't have to have the biggest boat, don't have to have anything too special. Troll along. Once the sun gets down, these lights really reflect through that water and bounce off those fish really good. So you get a good sight on them, good show, and hardest thing setting them. So, but well, we should be able to find a bunch here and we'll get it figured out. You don't have a peep sight and a regular pin sight or nothing like that. You just, it's natural instinct. You let them go. There's a couple different style reels you can do. We got a spin cast style reel here. This is made by Muzzy. So just like a regular fishing pole, you got your free spool and your line will come out. And then once you hit a fish, you start reeling them in. Kind of mess with your drag, really fight the fish when you get on those some big ones. Then the more traditional or more common bow fishing reel setup is an AMS style. These are always on a free spool, so they are all, you don't ever have to worry about pushing a button or anything like that. And then when you want to reel them in, you pull this lever, puts pressure on the line, and you can go to town. A little bit more going on with it, but definitely the more popular setup. This bow right here, I think retails for right around $450, $500. That's, you know, you don't have to get into that. A lot of times go to a local pawn shop or a used store. You can find a used kids bow or a youth bow for $20, $30, $40, and you can get real setups for about the same money. So you don't have to spend a lot to get into it, and it's fun. Yeah, you don't need to pull back 70 pounds. You know, 30, 40 pounds is more than enough.
How far are your shots?
You know, 10 yards is a lot.
Okay.
You know,
At night,
a lot of times, if you're standing on top of that deck, they'll be
right underneath the boat.
10, 15 feet off the boat.
Wow.
So up close and personal.
Joining Mike tonight were his hunting and fishing buddies Dave Smith, Corey Braun, and Danny Oglinski. We were starting a little earlier than normal just so I could get a few camera shots before dark. Mike says there are a couple of different ways to approach bow fishing.
So when we're doing this, you know, a lot of guys bow fishing when I have airboats, fans and generators and stuff. My setup, we run nice and quiet, all off batteries, get to talk and listen to the radio and everything. But downfall of that, obviously you got a trolling motor down in the water. So you gotta watch out for obstacles, rocks, sticks, shallow parts. But another downfall of it on top of it, if you have lines down in there, stuff can get rattled up. Right now it's not quite spawning time. Water temp's gotta get up a little bit more for that. But they're just in shallows right now, just hanging out, getting ready for that. We're within 10 degrees of where they really want to start spawning and stuff. So it's getting to be prime time, but not quite there. Another week or two, we should be right in it. So
As darkness set in, the guys started seeing some fish activity.
There's a koi. Oh, got him, Mike. Nice shot.
there you go.
Awesome.
So yeah, we are out here targeting mainly carp, gar, goldfish, and dogfish, quillback, and catfish if we run across them. But fish identification is pretty key. Obviously you don't want to be out here shooting bass. We've seen some walleye, a lot of pike. Those are not legal to bow fish for. You got to take those by hook and line.
Out here on the water, chasing fish with bows, there's plenty of room for error. But with 4 guys, someone's usually there to back you up.
Oh, my arrow. Stuck him, Danny. Nice shot. And that also happened.
Good deal.
We don't eat them. Some guys do. We have a local farmer that takes them as manure. We throw them in his compost pile, and he spreads them throughout his fields year round. He's been really happy to work with us on that kind of stuff. There is a proper way to dispose of them. Bow fishing community's sort of gotten a bad rap lately. Been a couple bad apples out there that just toss them in the ditch bank or leave them at the dock or something like that. That's not by any means what we do with them. We more than responsible enough with our fish and make sure they get put to good use. So the carp, you can get into, you know, average pound on them is probably going to be 12, 15 pounds, but they get up to 30, 35. So there's a chance. We seen a big one last night that we couldn't get an arrow into, but we're hoping we can track him down tonight. So.
While some folks choose to eat carp and some use them as a nutrient-rich fertilizer, they offer a great opportunity to hone your archery skills for fall.
Common carp are an invasive species. They eat all the eggs of our game fish, perch, walleye, pike, and basically
Don't have any real predators.
there's no real predators on them, but they can come in and just completely demolish a fish hatchery. I mean, we could come out here every day during the summertime and still not put an impact on the population of these things. We're just trying to basically do our part to help the game fish.
Bow fishing for carp helps build other fish populations and is a great social sport.
It's fun. It's just relaxing. You know, you go deer hunting. Same reason I like waterfowl hunting. You go deer hunting or something like that. It's fun and everything, but you got to be quiet. Got to worry about your scent. You know, can't move around. This, you can go out with a couple buddies, have a good time, listen to some music, and you get to shoot more than once. So it's always a fun time. So looking forward to the end of the night.
Do you guys try to fill that barrel up when you come?
We try to. Best we can.
Yep.
These guys were on their way to filling up the 110-gallon barrel on board, and they were pulling off some great shots. But there's also a lot of missing that happens out here, too. Take a look.
just underneath them.
Right over top.
Oh, I missed.
No.
I missed. Oh no.
Bow fishing is a lot of laughs for sure, and Mike says there's places to bow fish all around the state.
We're going off a public access launch. Like I said, on one of the Great Lakes. We've gone all the way down to Lake St. Clair, Saginaw Bay. A lot of tournaments all over the place. We were in Standish last weekend. Tonight we're in the Thumb. A lot of the waters that we're going to be in is going to be 4 foot or less. All depends on what your boat can really get into. But 4 foot or less, pretty common, and you do a lot of times just troll the shoreline, get up into some of the channels and cuts. You find a little pocket here and there, those fish will get fed up in there and held up. But not like you got to have a secret honey hole or you got to be out there 30 foot of water chasing walleye or anything. It's right on shore. That's why I say you don't even really need a boat. A lot of guys will throw on waders and go out there and wade and do it. So it's very doable without, big boats or anything. So.
I was even able to put down the camera and stick a couple of carp too.
It's a riot.
It is.
Thanks for
It
bringing
is.
me out here, guys.
You betcha.
Sweet. I'm adding to the barrel.
Yes.
Special thanks to Mike Brown and the guys for an awesome night on the water. Chasing carp with a bow and arrow can be as simple or as complex as you want to make it. But no matter how you choose to do it, bow fishing is a great way to battle with some fish and hone your archery skills this summer, right here in Michigan's Out of Doors.
Well, when it comes to bow fishing, you can have a pretty elaborate setup like what you saw in that last story and what we're going to show you in the next story as well. But even if you just want to get started with a rowboat and a Q-beam, it can be a ton of fun. A week or so back found me on Saginaw Bay just before dark to meet up with Tom Miller and his crew to do some bow fishing. The bay is great for this, and Tom told us how we would get started.
So we're gonna get out here. The first thing that we always do is check the wind direction, make sure that it's going to be coming from the shore side so we don't have big waves coming at us and swamping us off. We look for clear water, and then we make sure that if somebody doesn't know how to figure out what the fish is, we point them out and say, you can shoot that fish, you can't shoot that fish. We want carp, gar, drum, shad, handful of other ones, but we'll kind of go over that as we're looking at them.
Tom had originally contacted us to see if we would show his new invention, the arrow out. I said, well, let's see this thing in action, and here we were tonight.
This is designed to save your hands from wrapping them with line and losing arrows. All you do when your arrow is stuck in the bottom, just go on there, put a little pressure on, boom, locks on, pulls real hard.
Really?
Actually, this idea came to me on Saginaw Bay just last summer. We were shooting a tournament out there. My buddy shot a harshlock in the water. I was the one with the longest arms, so I got to take my shirt off, stick my head underwater, reach down and get it. And after about the third time that night of doing that, I said, there's got to be a better way. Turns out there wasn't, so we came up with it.
Joining us tonight was Tom's wife Samantha, his brother Tim, Nick Nation, and Dustin Carpenter. I asked Tom just how this all got started.
I started, probably about 10 years ago in a rowboat. Had one guy rowing and another guy with a spotlight and me standing there with a bow. And it was real interesting. I had an old compound, I think it was maybe a Darton, 70 pounds, blasting through fish, and it was just, I kind of dove in head first after that. And we went from that to a 14-foot flat bottom boat to a big old ugly fiberglass boat, and then on to a 1648 aluminum boat, and we just kept on going. Hopefully we're done now. We'll see.
As we got the generators fired up, I asked Tom about the light setup he uses, and I didn't really realize just how much goes into setting them up properly.
Pretty much 99% of all other bow fishing lights are floodlights, so they're pointing straight out. They're blinding all of the homeowners. They're making people angry. These are designed so that they're putting the light directly where you want them. On the fish, you actually end up with right around twice as many lumens hitting right where the fish are instead of losing into the sky, into the houses.
Well, night was finally falling, and we could start to see better and better into the water, and it was time for a few arrows to start flying.
Oh, I got away.
Oh, there you go.
Who did it? It is. Good job. Double whammy.
Yeah.
I asked Tom just what it is about bow fishing that he and so many enjoy.
Combination of, you've got archery, the fish, being on the water. You don't have to be quiet. You don't have to sit still. You can take the whole group of friends out there, be loud, have a good time. Just kind of enjoying being out there on the water.
Well, let's just say we had plenty of misses tonight, and this arrow out, well, it was huge, at least a half a dozen times, where we couldn't pull the arrow out with the rope attached to it, and at about $50 an arrow, this thing was a lifesaver.
Whoa, good shot. Oh, they were tough ones to hit.
Here. Well, we had a lot of excuses tonight, which is part of the fun, and we were starting to find the fish as well.
We come up with all sorts of excuses for it.
You said the gar are pretty good to eat?
Gar are very good to eat. Yeah, you can take a pair of 10 snips, snip all the way down the middle of their back, open it up, and there's 2 pure white boneless fillets that you can take out of there. You can grill them, you can chunk them up and deep fry them, make nuggets. They're pretty good.
The gar are pretty good to eat, and most of the other fish are used for fertilizer, and in the big tournaments, coordinators actually partner with local farmers to take the fish for the farm fields.
We'll have to get something at some point.
We even found one of the elusive goldfish tonight, but he was pretty safe.
How many times can we miss? We'll go back around, miss again.
He's right there still. 0 for 4.
It's pretty impressive that we had 6 people on this boat, all up front, and for the most part, we had plenty of room. Tim did a lot to this boat to set it up for bow fishing.
So we have started with a completely bare hull. We flipped it over, we slicked the bottom, we put a wrap on it, we installed an extended flush deck, added compartments, had sea deck installed, nice foam flooring, added generator rack, had a center console built, installed that, did wiring. There's probably a mile worth of wire inside of it. Yeah, it just goes on and on. We built custom housings. Actually, we're getting ready to start selling these housings. We have 8 400-watt HPS housings on there.
After doing the math on how many lumens we had going tonight, we had roughly 500,000. It was pretty impressive, to say the least. It was a very fun night.
Hey!
Bow fishing has become more and more popular, and many are hardcore, like Tom and his buddies tonight. But you can start like he did with a Q-beam and a rowboat. But be careful, this sport is pretty addictive. Anytime you can go out with a bunch of friends and take advantage of a night like this with calm conditions, lots of fish, and to see all that you can see under the water, well, you start to see why this is so much fun. So if you see a few folks on the water late at night with a rig that looks like a small spaceship, you now know it's just some crazy folks chasing fish with a bow and arrow. Just another example of the great variety of outdoor pursuits here in Michigan's Out of Doors. Well, as you can probably tell, it is a lot of fun doing that bow fishing. You get a lot of shot opportunities, a lot of misses as well. We're going to kind of stay with that theme of fishing after dark by doing a little sucker spearing in a West Michigan river.
There you go, that was a nice one.
Woo! First of the night.
Well, we're in the river. The game plan is to get some suckers tonight. I'm out here with my buddy Ty and Ben. We've been doing this together for probably the past 5-6 years in this stream, and we love coming out here and getting suckers together. There's the first one of the night.
So yep, that's how we do it. And some of these nights we can get 100 of them in a night if it's really good. Just kind of getting started here. So we've been spearing here for over 5 years now, and it took a little bit of work to find some fish for tonight. This is a river that we've always kind of depended on. It's out in Holland, and the other streams, we've just been getting some rain. It's been a little bit too high, and what we do is we get our lights on and we shine in the water, and we bring our stringers, and you'll see the fish swimming by, and they come in schools, and they usually school up in the rapids. And when they come down, we all in our line of about 3 people, and we spear them. The lights that we get, they're off Amazon, and they're 1,200 aluminums. So you just look up rechargeable headlamp, and it'll be the first one that shows up. And we've been using these since we started sucker spearing 5 years ago, and they are the best lights out there. You need to get one of those. They're 25 bucks. And then these spears, they can be hard to find because they're this old-fashioned, and people just don't really make them anymore. You can't get them at Cabela's or most bait shops. You got to look on Amazon or eBay and try to find someone that's selling them, and you can get them.
There you go. There we go.
You don't have to eat sucker eggs anymore. You're on the board.
Like Ty said before, we've been out here for a long time. About 5 years together with the guys. We usually just get a bunch of guys together, whoever wants to go, and we just give them the spears. A lot of times they don't even have waders. You don't really need waders. If you're tough enough, you can just go in with just shorts or old jeans. But yeah, it's a ton of fun. It's a great bonding experience too. My advice would be, do not get overexcited, and you'll be pushing them upstream. That's another good tip, is to start downstream and then work your way upstream. So that you push the suckers forward, and just like keeping your lines and not rushing above when you see one speed ahead of you, or when they go past you, running after them and breaking your line. You want to keep a tight line so that not many can get past you, although a lot of them did get past us tonight, but that that happens.
Although these guys were pretty good, this small stream was full of suckers, and let's just say our batting average was not quite 1,000.
You, Ty. They're going to sit right in that hole.
Oh! I hit a rock. No, it was right over it. I hit a rock before I hit the fish. There we go.
You got it.
There you go.
Third time's a charm.
Sucker spearing may not be as popular as it once was, but it's certainly not for lack of opportunity. There's plenty of places to go if you're willing to do a little scouting. Just make sure that you're spearing in a spot where it's legal to do so, and that you always identify the species of fish before attempting to spear.
So far, I think we probably got 40 to 50 fish. It's been pretty steady. There's a lot of fish in here right now. A lot of times there's a lot of streams around here, and most of the streams you're not even allowed to spear in, so you got to really do your research and look for the streams that aren't just trout streams, because you're not allowed to spear in those. And while you're also spearing, You're going to see a lot of other species of fish like walleye and steelhead and pike, because all fish are coming up to spawn right now, and you just got to be really cautious on what you speared. Most of them are suckers, but you just got to keep a good eye out, good clean eye out, and make sure you don't spear other fish other than suckers. It's just a lot different than fishing with a rod and reel. I mean, you're in the water with a spear. It's like you don't, this is the only time of year you even get the chance to even spear a fish. Any other fish, it's illegal. So when you get a chance to spear a sucker, it's just an adrenaline rush. It's just hectic and fast action, and that's what I like about it the most. There's nothing slow about it, that's for sure.
We ended up with just over 75 suckers in a couple of hours. Sucker spearing is one of many springtime activities here in Michigan, and if you've never done it before, you might want to give it a try. Special thanks to Jacob, Tyler, and Ben for letting me tag along on a night of spearing here in West Michigan.
Well, as you can see, that style of fishing, you can get a lot of fish, whether that's bow fishing or sucker spearing. You can get a lot of fish in an evening. And like we mentioned on one of the previous stories, a lot of those fish are used by local farmers as fertilizer on their field, and it is a good population control on those species as well. Make sure you are joining us over the next several weeks. We're out doing a little bit of walleye fishing this week, some cat fishing. There's just so much happening in the state of Michigan. Get out and enjoy it. And if we don't see you in the woods or on the water, hopefully we'll see you right back here next week on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by.
Do you dream of somewhere bigger than your backyard? You can get there with Greenstone. Whether you want to hunt, fish, hike, or just watch the sunset, we're ready to help you own your place in the great outdoors. To learn more, visit greenstonefcs.com.
Closed captioning provided by Marvo Mineral, makers of Lucky Buck, deer management products including minerals to supplement deer diets year-round to improve health and antler growth.
When I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man. Changing seasons paint the scene like rainbow trout in a hidden stream. The white-tailed deer in the tall pine trees. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my